Hi, everybody. It's Dr. Wendy Walsh. I'm waiting for a few people to come on board while I go live on Instagram here. Let's get IG going. Don't want to post. I want to go live. Hi, everybody. Boy, I've been off social media for a couple weeks, and boy, have things changed. There we go. There's the live. Put that up here. Okay. Hey, everybody. Just getting set up. How are you? You're coming on board, I see. Get Instagram going there. There we go. Cameras in the right places. The first thing I always like is for people to let me know where you're watching from. So if you're watching this live stream, tell me where you're watching from. That's always fun to know because you're often from all over the world, or at least around the country and in Canada. Let me open up the comments here on the other social media. Jonathan asked me what my favorite book is. It's in the last few years, my favorite novel that I ever read is called The Crimson Petal and the White by Michael Faber, I believe. I think he's a Dutch writer who lives in Scotland, and it's the best set in Victorian England, and it's just amazing. Amazing. That's my favorite book. Anyway, hi, Brooklyn, New York. Hi, Florida. How are you? I'm going to slide IG up a bit so I can see the comments better. There we go. Quebec City. Bonjour, bonsoir. How are you? Connecticut. Hello. Nice to see you. Chino. Hello. Let me know where you're watching from. Toronto. So you Canadians watching know that I'm a transplant Canadian. I'm from all over Canada because my dad was in the Canadian Navy. So I was born in Nova Scotia, then moved to Victoria, British Columbia, and then Ottawa, Toronto, and then eventually Los Angeles, California, where I am now. For those who are new to my live stream, I have a PhD in clinical psychology. I'm not a therapist. I am a psychology professor, but I've been obsessed with the science of love, the biological, the sociological, the psychological pieces of love. And there's a lot of science to love that can be turned into real practical knowledge. So my brand is all about teaching people how to love better, how to have better skills. Boyfriend of 8 years recently has ED. Okay, so all I can say about that as a psychology professor is start with your medical doctor. The psychological piece is that sometimes and I had a urologist on my radio show explaining this to me, if a man is young and he has trouble getting or sustaining an erection one time, which can happen for all kinds of reasons, stress, overtired, overthinking, health issues, whatever, it can just happen, right? Then what happens is he gets often anxiety associated with that. So anytime he tries again, the worry now causes the new problem. So a good sexologist can help him with that if that's psychological, but you always start out with your medical doctor because there are all kinds of medical reasons why somebody might have ED. Good question from Heather down here on Facebook. When should you live together? My belief system is that you shouldn't even contemplate moving in together unless you've spent a minimum of 1 calendar year together. Some people believe 2 years, but I think at least 1 calendar year. You've gone through all the seasons, all the holidays, and other criteria are that you've met all the families. You know, relationships are a bridge between tribes, right? So you need to meet the whole tribe because nobody, in fact, you got to wonder about somebody who's not in their tribe, who's exiled or something for some reason. You know, for years, I hosted a show on Investigation Discovery called Happily Never After. And it was real stories retold, sometimes through reenactments, of brides and grooms who killed each other, basically. It's more often the grooms doing the killing, I will say. But almost 100% of the time, they eloped. They ran off and got married, or they moved in together without the family's consent or checking out. We need people around us to protect us who aren't blinded by love, who aren't blinded by the neurohormones of love. So my answer, when to move in together, at least until 1 year and at least until the tribes have met. Okay, I see TS from Southern California on YouTube. Hello. So over here on this camera, that's why my eyes keep moving. I think we've got Facebook and YouTube and Twitter and a few places. And up here, we've got Instagram. Okay, any more questions that you have? So I as I mentioned, have been studying the science of love. I've written 3 books on relationships. One is called The Boyfriend Test, How to Evaluate His Potential Before You Lose Your Heart. Another is called The Girlfriend Test, How Dateable Are You? And the most recent one is called The 30-Day Love Detox, How to Purge Yourself of bad boys, cheaters, and commitment phobes and find a real relationship. And at the end of the day, it's about learning the skills of intimacy. You know, so many of us in our family of origin, in our early life, didn't have a good model for love. We had a faulty model for love. But love can be learned. Connection, intimacy, good communication skills, even good conflict resolution skills can all be learned. My audio is broken. Oh, Frank says my audio is breaking up. I wonder if it has to do with my Wi-Fi. That's strange. And you're getting that on Facebook. What I'm going to do is I'm going to close every other window on my computer. I don't know, try everything, right? You never know. Also, just to let you know that I head on over right after this live stream to my private Zoom room on Patreon. So if you want to join me on Patreon, the address is patreon.com/Dr. Wendy Walsh. Oh, TS says the audio is here. Susan Smith says the audio is fine there. Oh, and Frank still can't understand me. It's live. It's live, live, live. Yes, he's asking if I'm live. I'm live. I'm really here. What's the question? I only see a statement here. Oh, good. You hear me too. Oh, good. I said, well, on Instagram, I have a lavalier mic. So I know I probably have better sound on Instagram than anywhere. So if you have a quick relationship question, if you'd like me to weigh in on anything, I'm here for you for a few minutes every Wednesday at 6 o'clock before I head over to my Patreon Zoom room. So, oh, it's not flying again. There we go. How come it suddenly stops moving on Instagram? Okay, Matthew says, it's a good question, Matthew. My girlfriend does not have a great loving relationship with her brother. It happens, a lot of sibling rivalry. In my family, we're big on family cohesion and respect. Is it a big deal if her and her brother don't get along? Impact me. Okay, so let me tell, for those of you who come from families where there is a lot of sibling rivalry, the research shows that most often sibling rivalry is related to not enough parenting to go around. Parental neglect, either a single parent who's forced to work and not have enough, or parents who are just into themselves. And so the kids start fighting between themselves for the tiny piece of meat, that tiny piece of love from parents. You know, we don't choose our families. And Matthew, you are very fortunate if you have a family that has good cohesion. I always worry about that word cohesion because I want to make sure it doesn't mean enmeshment, where nobody can remember whose problem is whose and little two people in each other's business. But for the most part, a good, secure, connected family is the best gift anyone can ever have. But your girlfriend may not have that, and she shouldn't be forced to have it. If her and her brother, you know, a lot of the stuff that may have happened is even pre-verbal and they don't remember and they don't want to work it out, it's okay. You know, it's absolutely, she doesn't have to imitate your family to learn how to have healthy love. In fact, you and your family would probably be very good for her. And that's a great thing. Well, you know why he's telling you that you're nagging him? Because he's really, really embarrassed, right? So my suggestion would be to lay off him because you're adding to the anxiety. I would say that. Special advice for dating a widower. Well, you should know this. You can't compete with a ghost, and you shouldn't have to compete with a ghost. If his dead wife, if her photographs are everywhere, that's fine. She can't hurt you. She can't touch you, okay? I hear this all the time. People are like, I want her pictures out of the house. Really? What about the adult children and that's their mother, all right? You don't have to, it's not like they've got pictures of an ex-wife around. That would be a little different. But I would definitely understand that at the beginning when you're dating a widower, especially if they had a very long-term, committed, secure relationship, it's going to take them a while to transfer the feelings they had for her to you. And there's going to be some in between where you're going to hear them talk about her, compare you to her, and you just have to breathe deep. This is part of the healing. That's what I would say. Yeah, Frank, for some reason, cannot hear me, but everyone else seems to. So, Sean, you are being shallow. So I'm just going to say that. Your girlfriend has some acne, which is usually hormonal related. Heads up, generally, if you have a lot of acne, it means you got a lot of estrogen going. That's a good thing. You love her, you want to help. So I would gently ask her questions about, because I'm sure she's very sensitive, about what it means to her, whether she wants to get it fixed, whether she needs your help and support with seeing a dermatologist or paying for a dermatologist. And if she says no, back off. It's not your business. And if you're going to break up with her because you don't like her skin, then you guys are not meant to be. That's for sure. All right. Any other questions? I have just a few minutes before I head over to my Patreon Zoom room. If you don't have a question, you can always pipe in and let me know where you're watching from. I love the waves. Thank you very much. It's nice to see people watching all over the country and sometimes all over the world. I know the Europeans are mostly in bed, right? Sometimes we get a lot of Philippines at this hour. Wonder what time it is there. How to detox from bad girls. So I want to say this. When you're in a relationship and you find yourself in a pattern where you're dating people where there's a lot of pain, then that's what we call a traumatic bond, right? So it means that somewhere early in your life, there was a pain associated with love, and that is familiar to you. And you will continue to go out and be attracted to those kind of people until you go to therapy, until you learn to heal and understand that you deserve to be treated well. Oh, hello, Long Beach. You popped in from Long Beach. You love listening to me. Thank you. For those of you who are new to my radio show, I have a radio show on iHeartMedia, as I have for the last 8 years. And you can listen to it anywhere on the iHeartRadio app. If you logged on right now to the iHeartRadio app, you would listen to this week's show. But it's live every Sunday from 4 to 6 p.m. Pacific time. Okay, here's a good question. Cheryl says, why is commitment so scary? Well, believe it or not, to some people, it's not. In fact, some people rush to get into a commitment way too quickly. I think it's hard when the two of you haven't defined what commitment means, right? And what things about it are you terrified of it? Is it the monogamy, the sexual exclusivity? Is it this idea that maybe you can't go back or change your mind? Everything is changeable in life except birth and death, right? But, there is a way to talk about what things about commitment frighten you and work it out with your partner beforehand. I think so. Would you date a man 15 years younger, or is it better someone closer to your own age? Well, you're asking me. I tried dating younger, and I did not like having to be a teacher to those children. I believe, and the research supports this, that peers are attracted to peers across the lifespan. When you're dating someone younger, you want to ask yourself why. Now, again, I have no problem with somebody who wants a short-term, fun sexual relationship, and that's a great time to date someone younger than you. But if it's because you want to feel young again, or you're missing that stage of your life, or you can't face growing old, then that's a different matter. Nobody gets out of here alive, and we are all going to eventually die. Part of the process of getting there is dealing with the stage of wisdom. And so in my case, you asked me personally, I didn't like dating younger men because they didn't have the same references in life. And I didn't want to have to tell them what disco was. I was there, right? And so for me, it wasn't my thing. It may be yours. We'll see. But I'll tell you this, whoever the older person is, they have all the power. Even if they don't have all the money, they have all the wisdom and they have all the power. So there is a power imbalance in one of those relationships. How to let go of a relationship that keeps failing after so many years of trying to get it right. So it sounds like you're clear inside yourself. You ready? It's time. Then you need to not try to wean somebody. You need to break it off. You need to quickly turn a corner. You need to find new friends. You need to go to new places. You can't, when you say you're trying to break it off, anybody who's successfully broken up says, I'm sorry, I'm not feeling it anymore. It may be me. this relationship, it's time to end and I have to move on. And then you stop communicating and you have to physically do it. They're not going to do it for you. Okay. How do you find love at 52? The way I found it at 57. You go on those dating apps and you learn to have good relationship skills and you find a peer who's, here's the thing. When Till Death Do Us Part was invented, death was pretty imminent. So because of our long life expectancies, even the most monogamous of humans are going to see 2 or 3 long stints of monogamy along their lifespan and some mate selection in between, which we call dating. And there are peers looking for peers every day. Not everybody is looking for a younger mate. So get on those dating apps, be very clear and specific. And I have a very clear strategy for dating apps, so follow me because I do talk about that on some of my videos and on my radio show, because you do have to have some skill. There's some things you need to know. Anyway, on that note, I am going to head over to my Patreon Zoom room. If you would like to join me, you go to patreon.com/Dr. Wendy Walsh, and I'm there every Wednesday at 6:30. Thank you for being with me on my live stream. It's always a pleasure. Hey, and if you want to listen to my radio show, it's every Sunday from 4 to 6 on KFI AM 640 Los Angeles. You can listen everywhere on the iHeartRadio app. I'm Dr. Wendy Walsh. Thanks for being here. I gotta hit all the buttons. It's been 2 weeks since